Good morning, everyone. At the 13th minute, welcome to our intro to Chapter 19 Makeup today. And this is just the first of many classes today. So let's just go in with our makeup, and then we'll proceed to go on looking at some of the objectives for this particular chapter. Looking at some of the objectives for this particular chapter, you're going to explain how knowledge of makeup will enhance the career of the cosmetologist. So although your main focus is going to be hair of some sort, we also will bring in the career components of how to enhance. We already did with introducing facials, introducing makeup, and next we will be introducing nails. Our lesson objectives 2, you're going to outline how to use color theory when choosing cosmetics for makeup applications. Also explain the importance of serving a diverse client base, describing the use of various types of cosmetics for facial makeup. So actually put some name to some different cosmetics. 5, you're going to describe brushes, tools, and other implements for makeup application and removal. 6, you're going to implement basic makeup techniques used to complement face shapes and features. So we're going to talk about shop door, and then outline the steps for a basic makeup application or do it yourself, and then describe several different methods of eyelash enhancement. That's when we will touch on the lash specialty license and also go over into the lash specialty portal to see some of the things they have going on over there. All right, as we look at this here, it says why study makeup? Usually at the beginning of every chapter, you have this why, this form of explanation. You're going to see it again when it comes to check-in questions. And so for this particular chapter, it holds no different, making sure page 805 and 806 are highlighted. I said bookmark. And what we'll start to do, those references that we will see when it comes to the check-in and Tennessee State Board, we will highlight those. Today, our highlight is going to be in green. Let's highlight today in lime green, okay? When we look at makeup artistry, a very rewarding part of cosmetology is a part of it. I don't know if you guys saw, but they're now trying to remove makeup from cosmetology and makeup from aesthetics. They've already removed braiding. You got to have a braid certification. They pulled natural hair out. So natural hair is a license by itself, 300 hours. They pulled lashes out. Lashes is a separate license for 300 hours. And now what's on the floor is makeup. So you will only have to have pretty much a sanitation and certification hours. They have not said it yet, guys, but it's on the floor. It's already passed through a first part. I believe it's going to be passed. We're always distracted by something. We're always distracted by something. Something's coming up. And by the time it gets to us, it's already kind of late. So, yeah, they're fighting hard to pull makeup out. So, makeup artists will not have to go to school. 9 times out of 10, they're going to follow everything else, which means they either have, they're going to have a separate certification, and also it's probably going to include a high level of sanitation, disinfection, infection control. And that certification to be registered with the state of Tennessee. So that is, I believe if they do that, you have individuals who think they can do waxing, individuals who think they can do facials and stuff, just like the braiders with the braid certification. Some of them are they have moved into chemicals and things of that nature, and they're not allowed to do that, but they do it anyway under that licensure. And then you have makeup. So I definitely think makeup artists, some percentage of it will take advantage and move into doing skincare and things of that nature because it just comes together. It just comes together. So stay on the lookout for updates on that. And also, you can just look at your Senate and House bills, your General Assembly. Just go to, tn.gov. You put in any keywords related to beauty and see what bills are on the floor. Um, we know things have been moving to Mississippi and they've been moving simultaneously through Tennessee and a couple of other states. So stay tuned for a lot of stuff that's coming up. When we look at why study makeup, even though we know it's a rewarding part, it's excelling in a particular area. Okay. It's time tested because it takes time to make these beautiful, amazing faces. But I think with experience, that starts to hone in and cut down on your time. So I've seen individuals with years and years of experience, okay, years and years of experience. And it cuts down their time. And a lot of individuals who are becoming familiar with the facial anatomy, it kind of takes them a little bit more time. They fall into this form of perfectionism. And so we're going to find somewhere in between when we get together for our practical components. We're definitely going to jump into makeup. Okay. This is while understanding concepts. I mentioned anatomy earlier. We're going in green today. While understanding concepts like anatomy and color theory will enhance your career, these lessons are guidelines for creating your artistic vision. Okay? Anatomy, we're talking about anatomy physiology, but when we talk about anatomy and we deal with makeup, we're talking about facial structure, bone structure, okay? Facial shapes. We're talking about eyes. We're talking about the lips, the nose, okay? We're talking about the forehead, the cheekbones, the chin, the neck. We're talking about all those particular areas. Now, one thing in lash specialty that we teach is, have you ever noticed the closeness, how far away the eyes are? You can put two fingers in the middle. Okay, it should be a standard two fingers with the two to three fingers width apart in the middle. If you can do four fingers apart, you have a wide set eyes, and the lesser number of fingers, you have close set eyes. Okay, there are lash trends for each one. All right, to round eyes, cat eyes. There are lash trends and also makeup trends for each set of eyes. So if you're going to become a makeup artist and like specialize in that area, that's going to be something you concentrate on, you continue to study. And here's the thing, every person is different. No two people are going to be the same. Even twins, they have different features, okay? You have individuals also have hairline differences. And so you're looking at maybe just doing the makeup, but there's a lot of things that come into creating this look for a client. So that's what we want to hone in on. And as a cosmetologist slash makeup artist, or whatever you want to do, remember we want to solve problems for people. Okay. So whatever the problems are, we will first build unique plans to contour that problem. And so for me, I look at a round face, okay, um, chin, round face. Those are my issues. And mostly if I get my makeup done, I want them to contour those issues, okay? And so learning the facial shapes, learning the how light and dark affects your final look is going to be amazing. Okay, so you want to enhance and you want to decrease. And as makeup artists, your ultimate job, we're highlighted here for our check-in questions. Our ultimate job is to enhance what they already have. Okay. We don't go in and make something worse. We enhance what they already have. Okay. This cosmetologist should develop a thorough understanding of makeup because clients rely on you for advice on how to look their best. If you're already doing the hair, it makes common sense to finish up. Okay. And this is like prom season coming up. And so the challenging, I don't even think it's a challenge, is not only if you're just marketing hair services, marketing hair, skin, and nail services are going to be a component. You don't have to do all of them. Just know you'll find it all under your belt. Basic makeup techniques are the finishing touch to any hair services. So it should definitely be one of those things you look into. Not only do it, even if you say, I want to specialize in soft glams, you know, it's not going to take a lot of time. Soft glams, you are accentuating their features. Soft glams, you're giving them, they have this makeup, no makeup look with a tad bit of glam, maybe on the lip or maybe on the eyelid. That's one of my favorite looks. I do like a red lip. I think the lip brings out the makeup. So lately I've had a spicy lip with a chestnut liner. It's like a nude lip with a chestnut liner. I don't think I can wear that lip without the liner. The liner just gives, it accentuates the shape of the lips. I absolutely love it. And I have a new foundation, and it's actually a concealer that I'm using as a foundation. And I'm going very light, not heavy, and it's from Lancome. And I've never used a foundation from Lancome. I've been on a MAC for so long, and just recently, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, maybe a month now, I moved to Lancome, and less is more. Less is more. I love the way it makes me look. I love the way how it lasts all day. And so, yeah, I love it. I'm gonna have to put a picture in the group. And then a general understanding of facial makeup foundation. Okay, what are those things that we use that actually we cannot do makeup without? Okay, helps you understand when and on whom it should be used. So everything you have in your kit doesn't need to be used on everybody. And this is highlighting, contouring, and other face shape enhancing techniques will help you accent your client's best features. Okay. So why is it important for cosmetologists to study makeup? And then check in question 2, the theory concepts, okay, other benefits. Those are your answers up here. So super excited for us to get started. It's an easy chapter, but a very creative chapter. It's easily move into a form of creation. And if you're a creative person, this is like, okay, this is my time. All right, this is my time. So we look at color theory for makeup. All right. When you look at color theory, it's just like color theory in hair color. All right. We're looking at the color wheel here, and you have your level systems. You have individuals who are cool and who are warm. Let's look at this color wheel and let's break this color wheel down. If for a makeup artist, if you know your color wheel, you're fine. You don't really have to go anywhere else, but you're fine. Okay. First, there's 12 colors on the color wheel. There's 3, and the law of color states, let's state this. The law of color states that there are 3 pure colors. Those pure colors are red, yellow, and blue. Okay? Red, yellow, and blue. No other colors make up red, yellow, and blue. But red, yellow, and blue make up everything else. That's what you need to understand. Red, yellow, and blue are pure colors. All right. So you'll see them the strongest. They have the strongest impact. All right. Now, those are primary colors. Okay. When you mix 2 primary colors together in equal proportion, you would get secondary colors. All right. The secondary colors are, when you mix red and yellow, you're going to get orange. Yellow and blue, you'll get green. And then blue and red, you'll get violet. All right. So there are three primary colors, then there are three secondary colors, all right? From there, you have another set of colors, and those colors is what I call tricolors or tertiary colors, okay? Meaning three colors put together, all right? Now, now you mix a secondary with a primary, okay? And what comes in the middle is going to be your tricolor. So here we go. Let's start with orange being secondary, yellow being primary. And here's the key. The primary color always goes first. You will never see an orange yellow. You'll always see a yellow orange. Okay? Because it is the purest color. Purest colors go first. So here you go. You have, let's see here. Yes, you can do locks with a braiding. I'm sorry, I'm so late. I'm so late. Yes, you can do locks with braiding. It's braiding, weaving, um, locks. You just can't use any instruments. Okay, instruments are chemicals. All right. So your primary will always go before the secondary. The primary is the strongest, the purest of the colors. Okay. So when you have six tricolors, six tertiary colors, and here they go. And you have two for each primary. You have yellow orange mixed together in equal proportion. Then what's on the other side? Yellow green, equal proportion. Okay. And then we have blue. You have blue green, equal proportion. And then we have blue violet, equal proportion. Okay. Got red, red violet, boom, red orange, boom. Okay. And this is where we begin to dilute our colors and we get other colors. Okay. Yellow green, that's lime. And the more that we break it down, you're going to get a lighter pastel green, lighter pastel lime. And then here we have blue green that starts off as aqua, turquoise, teal, whatever color you feel like saying today. It continues to break that down. Okay. Blue violet. Okay. Blue violet, of course, blue is dark. Then you have purple that's dark. This is where you come in and you have these dark, it looks like black almost. Okay. Blue violet. And then you have red violet, okay, with red and purple, red and violet together gives you this burgundy look, and you continue to get different shades of that. And then you have red orange, okay, can be a loud orange. You can have a tinge of red to it. I personally don't like red orange, it's too neon for me. Okay, it's just too orange. When I am looking for a color, I like my reds to be have a little bit more violet, a little bit more depth to them. So my red, I like a red lip that has more blue or blue violet added to it. So it's a darker, richer red. And then we have like Ruby Woo, she's a lighter form of red. Okay. I do like Ruby Woo too. Okay. It's just, it doesn't have any dark components, but it definitely does not have a red orange undertone. I just, and here's the thing if y'all remember Fashion Fair, y'all was too young for Fashion Fair makeup. If you ever heard of your mom or grandmother wearing Fashion Fair makeup, put a one in the chat. Fashion Fair makeup. Ooh. Fashion Fair makeup. Hold on. Fashion Fair makeup. Ooh. Okay, you remember Jet Magazine, Ebony Magazine. I'm coming back to the chat. Y'all know I had to go to YouTube real quick. I found it, y'all. Hold on one moment. Okay, let's see what the chat says. All you heard was Maybelline. Okay, you love Jet and Ebony. All right, so here we go. Fashion fair was like all my mother wore at one time, really a long time. And fashion fair when Jet and Mabel and Ebony was like out, I always looked at Beauty of the Week because that was like our Tyra Banks, our supermodels, but it was like everyday women, bikini stands, but it was like, beauty. Fashion fair used to come through town, come through downtown Peabody, the nice hotels, and they would have these fashion shows, fashion fair makeup, Ebony magazine, Jet magazine. It would be flooded with black women because a lot of times that was the first time that we had seen black women celebrated like that in all full glam. So you're introducing us to black models. We got some celebrities coming through, full glam makeup, and full glam hair. So it was very influential during my mom's time. And I'm 46, but I do remember at least up to at least 15, 20 fashion for being a staple. So and I was born in 79. So the early 80s probably was for me the last that I really like heard a lot about fashion fair. And for me, I felt like it was too warm. A lot of the cosmetics were too warm, but it was stated, and they cultivated culture from European culture. So their reports were probably they were gleaming from a lot of Caucasian companies that said African Americans need warmth. We need warmth in our skin. So they were creating products with warm undertones. So that whole side that says warm on the color wheel from red, orange, and yellow, they were putting that into as a base for our foundations. So what if we already had, we're different shades. So what if we already had warm undertones in our skin already? And most of us do, most people of color do have warm undertones. Y'all, then you go and you have foundation that has more warm undertones. I remember it, and I remember aunts, and I remember mom's friends, people saying, you look like, if you wear fashion fair for too long, you're gonna look like a clown. And I was like, I was wondering why would they say that? Because they were saying it's too red. And so you already have a warm undertone, and then you're putting warm foundation on top. It just makes you too red. And it was contrary. This is where we start to separate and start to see different formulating their own, take a little bit of this, take a little bit of that to make their foundation that actually matches. Because that was a big thing too. Like, as lighter you go, it will still be, kind of red. And then if you went from the warm tones over into the cool tones, you look real ashy. So I think it was a big thing. But this is what I want us to look at. Let me make sure I got the video on. We're going to look at fashion fair. We're going to share sound. Then we're going to go back to our lesson. It's only 4.5 minutes. So let's look at this. Let's see if it has some words. like? Okay, those are some pictures. Let's see, can I find something?
Fashion Fair Cosmetics, one of the first major cosmetics companies in the U.S., targeting people of color. The Chicago-based company, launched in 1973, made products created just for black and brown skin. In its heyday, the products were used by celebrities, including supermodel Pat Cleveland, actress Diane Carroll, and legendary Aretha Franklin. But Fashion Fair struggled in later years until its parent company, Johnson Publishing, went bankrupt in 2019. Fashion Fair relaunched this week under co-owners Desiree Rogers and Cheryl Mayberry McKissick. Thank you, ladies, for coming.
Thank you for having us.
We appreciate it. This, to so many people, is like, hallelujah, because I know so many people that they could only go to Fashion Fair for their makeup.
Right. Well, we're so delighted to be here in Chicago, and Fashion Fair's, obviously Fashion Fair's home. And so we just can't wait to launch on next week on Thursday, and we'll be selling the brand at Sephora and also at fashionfair.com. So we're really looking forward to greeting all the people that have waited for this and all the new people that will discover Fashion Fair.
Cheryl, how will it be a little bit different this time than the first launch?
Yeah, well, it'll be different and it'll be the same. And when I say that, what I mean is that, the historical, you've already talked a little about the historical part of Fashion Fair, and we're going to, continue to create part of that historical legacy with these iconic brand. So that'll be the same, and we'll do that in ways where we'll continue to work with the community and support education. We're working on a Spelman scholarship as well as taking it to the next level, which is to really not only provide financial help. We think Spelman has done such a wonderful job of uplifting and really grooming our young Black women, but we also want, if some of those women would like to have a career in beauty and skincare, we're going to help to create some internships to be able to do that. So that's some of the ways where we'll continue the legacy that was started by Mrs. Johnson. But the newness really is in the ingredients in the product. And so you're going to see, first, the products are vegan. The products are using all kinds of wonderful new ingredients. And so back in the day, people weren't thinking as much about the ingredients, but we're really focused on that. And that's really where you're going to see a lot of newness, but yet you're still going to see all your favorites. And you're going to see the same, wonderful complexion, the way the product looks and feels on your skin, but it's also going to be really good for you.
Desiree, there's a lot more competition out there now than when Fashion Fair was almost the only place that we could go. How are you guys going to deal with that?
Well, I think we have a great history, right? We've got 56 years and experience in doing this. And so we've taken that experience, as Cheryl mentioned, and we put some newness to that. We've worked with an African-American dermatologist right here in Chicago. We've got a new face, our Kiki Lane, who will be representing the brand for us. And we've worked with Sam Fine, who's renowned for his ability to create those undertones that are so precious and dear to us that Fashion Fair had. And so we really think that there is a niche that women are still experiencing some trouble in matching their skin tones perfectly. And so we think our experience, coupled with the fact that we really have not skimped at all in terms of any of the ingredients and really have only focused on darker skin tones. Many of the brands that are out there tend to focus and have every skin tone. We believe that there are certain ingredients that you use for, a beige to a black that maybe don't work if you go wider. And so I think that's going to be one of the differences. And I think people will be just happy to support this fabulous, iconic American brand again and see us back. So we've got the history going for us. We got the best in the business that worked on the products. We believe the products themselves will perform miraculously and wonderfully on the skin. And so all of those things coupled together with maybe a little bit of marketing and a little bit of luck, we should be able to do okay.
I just want to know if you're going to have that Sam Fine gold gloss. That's all I want to know.
It's coming back, girl. You
All
will
right,
have
ladies.
that. You will have that
Thank
in
you.
April of 2022.
That is my favorite. Ladies, thank you so much. Be safe, be well.
Thank you for having me.
All right, y'all. I just wanted you to just find a little bit. We had already got started on that, but definitely Fashion Fair was one of those foundational products. And it was like, as she stated, it was all that most African Americans had to go to. I was looking at a couple of the shades. Take your time and just go back through those YouTubes or even ask family members, grandmas, and things like that about Fashion Fair and just see what they say. My thing was it was too warm. My aunts, and my mom's side, jeans were, I mean, their jeans are very strong, but my mom and grandmother's side, my grandmother could literally pass for, it was said that she could pass for white when she was a teenager. Okay. And so they tell you how light she was and she had interchanging eye color. And that kind of passed down, generation down. And her brothers, some of her brothers, and she's fully African American. Haven't done a DNA test. She may be something else as well. But she had brothers that had red hair. And so, it's like this red orange looking hair and this very light skin. And then you have someone that looks almost white with gray eyes. It kind of makes you think, like, what does that dynamic, what's that background look like? And so at the end of the day, you'll see that through my mother's side of the family, that you still see it pop up, and it's like 3-4 generations down, and you'll find a set of, a couple of kids that'll pop up with those same traits that we saw my grandmother and her brothers with, and it just goes down generation to generation. So it's a strong, warm undertone. Some of them, when it comes to just natural hair color, brown, red, and then you have some that have a jet black undertone, and so still in the warm family. This is what I want to tell you, and I said it before, most people of color have warm undertones. And so I don't want you to say, I'm gonna use this makeup because it's for Latinos, it's for Hispanics. There is a difference between Latino and Hispanics. Learn the difference, okay? And then choose cosmetics, foundations, base of those foundations accordingly. But everyone outside of Caucasian European is considered a people of color. So when you talk about the world and people of color, you're looking on one side, you have Asians, Africans, African Americans, Native Americans, Indians, Hispanics, Spaniards. We individuals are considered people of color, and naturally people of color have warm undertones. So it doesn't matter what racial background, ethnic background they are, if they falls into the category of people of color, you can find some yellow, some orange, or some red undertone in their skin. Okay? Yellow, warm, red undertone in their skin. And actually, if you go South African, you may be able to find some red violet, like purple, red violet undertone in their skin. And if you go far equator India, you may be able to find yellow, green in their skin. And yellow, green is like ash too. Okay. And so, and that's Indian, and I've seen that in Indian background where you've seen them literally look like they have a green cast on their skin. They still have some warmth, but they're right at the edge of a green undertone. Okay, so it look kind of ashy. But that comes with, for you to explore more, I really like my students getting outside of where we are now. Okay, so the more you travel, the more people you will see, and the more you'll start to expand that knowledge base. Because books could tell you whatever. We could go through the course. Books are great, but they also have error. They are not being updated every month, every year. Technology is updating every day. People evolve. Okay, there's different things going on with the atmospheres, continents. Everything is beginning to evolve, and so I want you to be able to see what that looks like in, just say, Canada. Okay, and then what it also looks like for individuals who are from Brazil. Two different individuals. Okay, one closer to the equator, one closer to the North Pole. So they'll have two different tones, which means you ain't gonna be able to use the same color. Okay, you ain't gonna be able to use the same base. Two different undertones. So always a part of our consultation also is asking questions about even if you have to say like family, do they have, what's their ethnic background? Doesn't change anything. You're just trying to find what may possibly pop up in what's been popping up. And if they can show you a picture, and that picture will help you determine what's going to pop up when you put this particular shade on, what you should be seeing, what you're not going to be seeing. So this color wheel is broken into two, one side warm, one side cool. Yes, and Ms. Cox, how do I know one side is warm? Okay, here's what we're going to do. Warm is going to be red, orange, yellow. Cool is going to be violet, blue, and green. Okay, when you take kids into a dentist's office, you probably never see red, orange, and yellow. Red, orange, and yellow builds excitement. Okay, builds excitement. It's color marketing. You don't want a kid jumping and jittery before they go into the dentist's office. Most doctors' offices, you're probably going to see cool because they want to calm people down before going into the back. Okay, so that's one thing to look for. Think of a forest, you're going to think of cool. Think of the sunshine, you're going to think of warm. All right. Here's another thing, these colors that we have to deal with. There's something called complementary colors. Complementary colors, which means the color found across from each other, it cancels each other out. When I ask you to do the color wheel, you cannot put the colors anywhere you want. For generations, years, the color wheel and the law of color does not change. The law of color is the same if you do hair, you do makeup, you paint a house, you design clothes, you paint canvases, okay? It is the same law of color. Everybody that has to use color or paint for their job, they're following the same law of color. Okay, so when you go to Sherwin Williams and ask them to mix this color together, they're gonna follow color wheel. It's gonna tell them how much yellow, how much red, how much white, how much everything. They're following a color wheel. Okay, they're following the law of color to get that particular color. So everybody's using the same law of color. All right. So now we have complementary colors that found across from each other. You have to put yellow where it's supposed to go. It goes at the top. It doesn't go to the left or the right. Okay, violet goes right across from yellow. All right, violet goes right across from yellow. I tell my students, let's learn a couple of ways that we can remember complementary colors because they're going to come in handy. Yellow and violet is yellow and purple. Think about the Lakers. Okay, the Lakers. All right, green and red, Christmas. And then orange and blue, I tell people the Knicks, New York Knicks. Here's what happens, especially if my client has red undertones. Just say my client has a red pimple. fair, light skin, has a pimple and it left a little red spot on her skin, but she got to get makeup. In my mind, because I know what's across from red is green, green is considered what's going to help me move forward. I'm going to take a little green concealer and I'm going to pat it over that little red spot. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and follow it with my foundation. The green would not pop through. Okay. But what the green did, it concealed, it helped tone down that red that was going to give us a issue when we applied the makeup. Okay. Someone has, like I've been seeing this a lot with West African and South African. They tend to have the higher Fitzpatrick, which is very, very dark skin. And you almost see like a violet purple undertone in their skin, very, very dark. And with these models, and naturally when I see it, I smile because I know someone knows the law of color on the other side. So if they're very, very dark, you can see this violet, dark undertone. What's going to make their features pop? They may have beautiful cheekbones, beautiful eyes. You have to put some yellow on their skin. Not saying you're just going to tap yellow, but guess what's connected to yellow? Gold. Gold. It's so many different shades that come from yellow. And so a little bit of highlight, a little bit of shadow in the yellow family, not necessarily yellow, could be creams, could be golds, something with a little sparkle, helps pull life out of that base color, which is what they normally see is a violet undertone. So having a little shimmer, a little highlight, a gold highlight, it's going to bring out the beautiful facial features, and then putting something on the eyelid as well. It's going to bring what we call put some life to the face, so the face won't look flat. Okay, and so when I saw that, I was like, oh, they're using the color wheel, just something because she has this violet undertone, so they're going to use yellow or gold base, something on her eyes, and then also something on her cheeks. It kind of bring out, the structure of her cheekbones and things like that. So that was cool. If you ever grew up and you heard people say red bone, right? Red bone, you heard that a lot. And most of the time, I would also hear people say yellow bone, And so for me, an African American, if someone was called red bone or high yellow, and I was like, okay, what does that mean? They are talking about an undertone of skin, and they're not even knowing they're flowing with us in the law of color, but they're just calling it the way they see it. Red bone normally meant a person had fairly lighter skin. I'm talking on African American standpoint, but you could see redness in their skin. Okay, so that means anything warm would fit beautiful for their skin, but if they want to turn, so any red, any orange, and yellow would beautiful for their skin. And if they wanted to tone it down and add more depth, okay, they would use the colors green, blue, and violet. They would add warmth to the skin. If they didn't want warm, they would add cool to the skin. And so if they didn't want to be what we considered red bone or yellow, high yellow, you would have to go in and add the complementary colors, which is green, blue, and violet. Okay, and that would make their skin tone appear deeper and it has more depth. It would give you something like smoky eye, dark liners. It would give you that mystery behind their eyes and things like that. I want to also share. Many people think Native Americans, Africans, or African Americans, well, Native Americans, African Americans, and Mexicans are like different cultures, but really we're all what we call culture cousins. Okay, so there's a time that they've been intertwined, and so when I look at certain individuals, the same thing you use to correct or do hair, do skin, do whatever for African Americans, it's the same thing you can do for your sister girl over here who has a Mexican background. And the same thing you can do, you can use it over here for your brother that has a Native American background. Okay. So some people like to break things up, but remember, we're falling to people of color. Well, people of color have so many different similarities that you don't have to be trying to figure out, can you use that product on here, use that product on here. Most of the time, if it works well on one ethnic background, it's going to work well on all of them. Okay. For me, as I stress, I like more Spanish, more Italian based hair colors. So I do like a hair color that is built for people of color. And then when you get to Italians, Greeks, and things like that, in skincare, it's called a Fitzpatrick scale. Those individuals are Fitzpatrick 3 going into 4. And 4, you're starting that pool of darker skin. Okay. So 3, so your cousin could be Italians. Honestly, our cousins could be Italians. All right. And so the same thing goes. We're so close together in skin tone, like we're maybe one step and as far as one step away from skin tone, but still relatively one product having more moisture base. All right, that's the same thing that we're going to use on down the line. So that's something to look at. Don't look at, I don't have products for this particular person or that particular person. If it all falls on the same side, it's going to work well with everybody. Okay. Let's look here. Orange base. Oh, um, for the individuals wanting to get bald blondies, because the summertime coming up, and so you'll have your clients who will say, "Hey, you want to cut all of it off? You want a platinum blonde?" Your bleach is going to get you to yellow, and then you'll have to go in and put like a purple toner, right? A violet toner. When you put that toner in, maybe blue violet or violet toner. When you put that toner in, it's going to take all the yellow out. That's what cancellation does. Okay, that's what complementary colors. That's what they do. They cancel out. All right. But also, if that person has their hair color, now we can come back to the color wheel and we can start their base. We can start as far as their makeup, their glam look. We start pulling palettes that'll go well with their look. And if an individual has like a yellow platinum, so anything dark on this side is going to be a smoky look, and then anything over here is going to be a vibrant pop. All right, so they can go anywhere between red and green, um, blue and orange. They could do pretty much any of it because you have taken all the color out, and so now you're open to any color that you put on the face. That's something to check out as well. And when also, I'm just going to have a hair reference. Most people of color do have a warm undertone, which means when we start to bleach our hair, you're going to fall into a lot of warmth where you may see orange for a long time and we'll get scared, but we have to cancel that orange out and keep going. And how do you cancel that out? You use a color that has a blue base or a blue violet base. Okay. And that's going to get rid of the orange. Right. And so you to do the same thing if someone had orange and really intentionally, sometimes of the year in the fall, people like to go with amber. They like to do burnt orange colors. That means the makeup, what would complement that would be some form of blue or blue violet. Okay. Some form of blue or blue violet when it comes to, I would do like a light smoky, definitely a liner, and it would complement that hair color. Okay. You saw the lady, she had this orange looking lipstick. That's what I'm talking about. It's a red orange look. I don't look good in that type of lipstick. Okay. And I felt like She had a nice lipstick, but if she would have had something to complement it, looks like it was just foundation and lipstick. But she needs something to complement the lipstick. Maybe put on a blue. If it was red orange lipstick, she should have put on a blue green shirt. And I would have never noticed the lipstick. Because when you add your complementary in, it takes you off the focus of that odd thing that you figure is wrong. One time I colored my hair. I think I told y'all before. When I say pitch, it was high red. I bleached it in, put this very, very red color on top. And I may have been going through something that night when I woke up that morning. I was like, oh, I'm over it. And I looked at it, I was like, I don't have time to figure it out. I put on a big old green sweater. And it was afternoon sometime before someone said something about my hair. I had to tell them that I distracted them intentionally by wearing a big green sweater because I did not want to talk about my hair. I wasn't ready to talk about the hair color I did that morning. And so while my students were watching me and listening to me in class, the big green sweater was kind of distracted. And later on in the afternoon, I told them about my hair. They said, I didn't really think anything of it. I said, no, because you saw this big green sweater. And the green is opposite red on the color wheel. That means that green cancels out the red. So the big green sweater canceled out a lot of conversation about my red. And of course, I went home and I did another color. I toned it down some. I did an entirely new color. And just by using the color wheel, just by using the color wheel. And it says orange base red is warm, so on and so on. That's complementary. I'm gonna go just a little yellow just to kind of break it up because all of that is good stuff. He said you may have clients who are visually impaired or have color blindness. And y'all, don't you know they said most men are colorblind? So you be asking what color, they really don't even know. Most men are colorblind, okay? Most women are not. We have a great edge on color. But you definitely, your tone, your shade is not the same as somebody else may think. So you literally want to talk and have questions and break down like, okay, what's wrong with this person's what's wrong with this person's skin? What's wrong with what color do we really see? We want to be on the same page as that. Okay. And then we have neutral tones. Many individuals want to call this that fair in between. Okay. This is where you have gray, black, and white, and you have your neutral ranges of taupe and brown. They want to say these are soft colors, but also they could be just a little drabby, but they're neutral. They don't cause any big to do. So when someone is saying soft glam, they're probably moving, or someone who doesn't wear makeup, they say, I want to keep me neutral. So they have this makeup look without saying a whole lot. Okay. So neutral. So to the untrained eye, makeup may seem like random color combinations, but everything is literally put together so you can analyze and conceal the things you don't want. Okay. In doing this light intro, this is the area I want us to continue reading. We're going to pick back up on this tomorrow, but let's go over this particular page and talk about skin tone, skin undertone, and choosing colors for our client. And then you guys have a homework assignment as well. Okay. Choosing colors for your client. You have 4 primary factors to consider when choosing colors for your client, highlighted in green. A study note. You're looking at 4 things when choosing colors. You're looking at skin tone. Okay. Where do they fall? Fair, medium, fair to light, medium, or deep or dark. Okay. And then number 2, you have skin undertone. Okay. So although we see one shade on top, there is an underlying what we call base on the bottom. Okay. So right under that skin, there's an undertone that is a warm, cool, or neutral. Okay. And then there's an eye color. What's your client's natural eye color? Blue, green, brown, or other. Now, My family starts with Fitzpatrick 3 and 4. All right. And so on the Fitzpatrick scale, you got 6 groups of skin types. Okay. And skin types, skin types, skin types. In skincare, we use the Fitzpatrick scale to determine how sensitive a person is to the sun. Get it? Okay. We got 6 categories, and it shows how sensitive the person is to the sun. Okay. So individuals who are 0 to 1, they have no melanin. So you have albinos, okay? And you have Caucasians who are very, 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 very pale, okay? 2, and here's another fact. These individuals live or based or originated their families or origin closer to the North Pole. And so the North Pole is colder and it reduces the melanin, whereas you have backgrounds, races that are darker, that are closer to the equator, okay? And our bodies and genetic buildup, the amazing way God made us, we start to adapt. Okay, we start to adapt. Let me tell you, the world is made up of so many people, so many undertones, so many bases. I can never teach you. I'm not qualified to teach you on that level, a scientist level. Okay, they give me enough to help you in the form of cosmetology. But I want you to go deeper. I don't want you, the world is not black and white. So get out of me. And anybody that tries to put it in black and white, get away from it. The world is bigger than black and white. All right. And I don't care who says it. It's not. It's bigger than black and white. Y'all, we have so many other subcategories of ethnic background and mixtures. We're a melting pot. They have so many in Louisiana by itself. We cannot think that it's just black and white. All right. So in your career, and you're going to choose to service people, you cannot say what kind of people you want to choose. They don't have signs that say whites only and black only anymore. So it could be anybody that comes sit in your chair. You have to be aware and know. Okay. And it's good for you. The more you know, the more value you become, because you've been expanded to different cultures, travel. You've never been to Egypt? Go. It's on my bucket list. Why? I want to see the people. I want to go to Australia. Okay. And some people say, why are you going to go to Australia? Because I heard there's people that look like me that are born with blonde hair. Okay. Aboriginal. In my textbooks, they never talked about those people. They always made it either this or that. Okay. I go to Spanish countries all the time because I love people. Okay. And they're so close to us, it don't even make no sense. I like going to Texas, Arizona, the up further, in the Dakotas. What's their places? They don't do nothing but gaming and shooting animals, and it ain't nothing to do pretty much up there. I forgot what's the name of the place. Had a layover, and I had a ball because I was meeting new people. Okay, learn about their culture backgrounds, and so just be open to that. Because if you're gonna do hair, skin, or nails, whatever, you cannot dictate who you're going to do. You don't know who's going to come in your chair. And I never want you to get used to just doing people that look like you. So please get out. Okay. So those individuals who have no melanin, who are Fitzpatrick 1, they are usually albinos, or they are individuals who are from what we call Netherlands. Okay. And this is a smaller country right outside of the Europe. So if you're got a map, okay, I'm thinking about London. Okay, so it's a small country. Over there, you have a lot of individuals who you've heard of Irish accent, Irish background. So Ireland, we're talking in those particular areas as well. So a one is usually someone who's albino, has no melanin nowhere, or they really favor and fall into the ethnic group of Irish, okay? And they're high pale, lack of melanin, all right? Usually you will have this red signature hair, freckles as well, green, amber eyes. And you would say, Miss Cuss, how do you know that? Because if you're gonna do hair color, you need to know the history background of people and where they're from. And so when you see ask them, is them your real eyes? Literally, my mind spans to one part of the world. Okay, and I know because that eye color and the rim around the iris of the eye, what possibly is gonna come up if I put some bleach on her hair. Yeah, Miss Cox real nerdy, y'all. Real nerdy. Okay. It don't take all that, but I'm just real extra. Okay. So that's one. So in skincare, when we see one, a person that maybe have these characteristics of Ireland, that they're from Ireland, they're Irish, or they're albino, these individuals are the sun is very harsh to them. They should not be outside during the high peaks of when the sun is out. That means they burn really easily. So they need to have their arms covered. They never should go out without sunscreen. And the sun is not friendly towards their skin at all. Okay. But when we look at it in hair, you guys are going to see with albinos, there is no melanin. So this is why permanent hair color 9 times out of 10 do not take on their hair. In order for permanent hair color to take, it has to have something in the hair mixed with the hair color you're putting on. And when those two mix together, then it changes the hair color. So when you don't have any color in the hair, you can't expect for the perfect color you want to come out because it doesn't work like that. Permanent color works with what you have, and what you have mixed with its undertone, then it becomes a new color. All right. Same thing for gray hair, same analogy on down the line as well. The higher the number, the darker the skin. That's what I want y'all to understand. So now when we go to type 2 in the Fitzpatrick scale, we skip over unto London in that Europe area. And I'm just naming cities so you can follow me. Okay. If you know anything about London, those individuals naturally still pale. Okay. Most of the time they call them true Caucasians, still pale. Okay. Very pale. Still, the sun is dangerous to the skin. Got it. Okay. Then you have individuals who are 3. You move from London and you're moving down to Paris, Italy, Dutch. Now you're in that little that little circle of romance, fun, loving. You see those movies where food is the center of everything. So now you're getting a little bit more melanin. Okay. And so you have your Italians, your Dutch, you have Romans, and it's all the French right there. Okay. And they also call those individuals dark Caucasians. Have you heard of that before? They call them dark Caucasians. Okay. And so now they're picking up more melanin. All right. So now they're picking up more melanin. Also, let me tell you, if you ever find a friend in category 1 and 2, They can try to tan, but tanning don't work because remember, you got to have something in there. Tanning don't work. So they can get in a machine and say, I'm gonna do this for 30 minutes. They're just burning their skin. They're just burning, causing a burn over a period of time because there's no melanin in there. And in order for it to tan, got to be something in there to get dark. And so, of course, the darker you get, the darker the skin tone. Now we're in a 3. These individuals tan amazingly. Who are these Mediterranean? Okay. They have this, they will tan beautifully. Okay. And then you move from these individuals to 4. Okay. So between 3 and 4, you pick up Asian, you pick up the continent of Asia, you're going to pick up South African. No, it's North African. Okay. North African. North Africans are usually what we would consider white or Caucasian European, but they're African. Okay, just a migration. So the top part of Africa has a large census of white Africans. Okay, then you have Asia, you have your Iranians, you have country Dubai, Iraq, Pakistan, all of that. And then you have your West Africans and you have your South Africans. And the further you go down that continent, you'll see darker skin tones. Where we come in at Spaniards, African Americans, Native Americans, we fall into a 3-4 category, and then we're like a melting pot. So we have different variations. So it's light skin, fair, deep, medium, dark. And so we just becomes the melting pot. And it's like everybody can come from us and become any shade of their skin can become any shade possible. But that's not possible for individuals who are born with no melanin. All right. So it's like, hey, we have melanin deep rich, and when we populate and continue to mix, we can create a rainbow of shades of skin tones. Okay. And so kind of be like, we got it going on. Okay. We got it going on. So that's something I want you to think about too. I need you to just look in your family or when you go to work. I call it the Fitzpatrick scale. Okay. But when you ask questions about where people are from, you start to get an understanding of origins and generations. And so I want you to just look in your home or down your family line. Do you have any mixed races? Do you have any mixed cultures? If so, what does that look like on both sides? Are we on the darker end, closer to the equator? Or are we on the lighter end where you have family that's closer to the North Pole? When I say North Pole, light, very, intermixed Canadian, European mix, London, Europe, in that area. Then you have France, Asian background, Spanish background. Then you have Africans, okay? And we just mix all over the world. So think about that today. Like, what does your family look like? Do you have any of those backgrounds in your family? Can you go far back? And the higher the number, it goes from 1 to 6. The higher the number, the darker the skin. Okay? The higher the number, the darker the skin. The sun doesn't so much pose damage to the skin, the darker the skin, but everybody can be sunburned. So whereas the darker the skin, the melanin protects us from our skin just being so harshly damaged. Like we don't get skin cancer like individuals who don't have any melanin. Individuals who don't have any melanin on the European end are more prone to skin cancers from the sun, whereas the darker the number Fitzpatrick 4 and up, we are not as prone to skin cancers, okay? Because we have melanin, and then melanin is like puts up a shield and fights against the rays of the sun. Not to say you just go outside and lay on the beach. You need to put something on your skin to protect your skin from being burnt, but it definitely would not. And that's just from the hot rays, just hitting the skin in one spot. All right. So everybody needs sunscreen, but we are not in nowhere near category as someone that does not have melanin. Melanin in the skin, in the hair, in the nails is an amazing, when I tell you it is amazing premium ingredient we don't have to pay for. Okay, it just makes everything better. Everything just enriches. It's just something about melanin. All right. And so when you're starting to work on your clients with makeup, we need to find out what level, how much melanin, where that's why we ask them where they come from. Look at your family tree. Okay. Look at skin tone. Look at undertone. Can you recall nicknames? If you're from Louisiana, that's a big conversation to have. If you're from Louisiana and your family moved up north, that's a big conversation to have. Remember, Louisiana was French territory, and it was sold back. And so you had a lot of French and you had a lot of mixed race in Louisiana during the time of segregation. And so, and they had something called a one drop rule, and that was one drop of African American blood. That means you were black, even if your skin tone was light as all I knows, that you were black. And many of them fled up north so they wouldn't be persecuted like black people down south, right? And so a lot of times lived the life of European, Caucasian, just different ethnic backgrounds up north, but just to find out that they were really, really black from their birth certificates. And so you have to know the undertone, okay? And even though strategically, I'm telling you about the Fitzpatrick scale and everybody in the world falls from 1 to 6, but I need you to also know God can do some amazing things, all right? And he makes amazing people. And so although you may run into someone that has total contrary to all of this, guess what? It's okay. It's okay. That's just one of the miracles. That's just one of the things that he does, and no one can break it down and understand it no matter how they try. But this is a start. It is a standard. So don't be satisfied with just regular questions and just these one word answers. Go deeper, go deeper, go deeper. It's going to help you understand what color is going to work well for them, whether it's makeup, hair, clothing, whatever. Go deeper in your conversation about where they're from, what undertones, natural skin color, natural eye color. Ask about grandmas and aunties and great grandmas, and you'll find you'll get to the key, a good idea of what's in the line, the family lineage, and what could possibly come up. And you will have to do some corrective coloring off. And so we take all of that information and we pull it in and call it a consultation. All right. And so we're going to pause for today. This was just an intro into makeup. We'll pick back up tomorrow, 8:09, and we'll go deeper into makeup. Your homework. Be back at 1. I'm going to close this out right now. So let's close this session out.